Happy Friday to you, this December 17th. A week from now, kids all over the land will be giddy with excitement, thinking about Christmas the next day. Some will have a white Christmas. Here in Oregon, last year we did, but that's rare. Now, I know we've got a lot of friends on this webinar from all over the country. Many of you, it's already been under freezing a fair amount of time, so we feel for you a little bit. We're enjoying a cold but sunny day here in Portland. Thank you for joining us on today's Straight Talk on Social Media webinar. I'm going to be turning it over shortly to Ian Desher, our social media expert, digital marketing expert. We've been thrilled with the reception to these webinars and also the work we've been able to do in the social media area with many of you, kind of sort out what to do or how to be more effective. So as we know, this is a powerful new tool, and using it effectively and intelligently is something we're having a lot of fun helping companies with. So I wanted to just remind you that there is a questions bar on your control panel that you can click, and we would love to receive your questions. So go ahead and insert those in, and we'll be watching for those and look forward to answering any that you might have. So again, thank you, welcome, and I'm going to turn it over to Ian Desher.
Thank you, Dave. Welcome, everybody, to Straight Talk on Social Media. Thanks for joining us for today's session where we'll look back at social media developments in 2010 and look at what we might expect in 2011. But first, let's look at some news from the last couple of weeks. I'm going to do the news a little bit differently today, different than usual. Normally I tell you about some news topics and then offer some takeaways, but this week there's one news item that I really want to go in depth with because it has implications for almost any individuals and companies using Facebook. So I'll talk about news items and takeaways as we go around this time. If you were with us 2 weeks ago, you heard me say that a deal for Google to buy Groupon was imminent. Well, it just goes to show that nothing is certain and rumors are in fact rumors. Groupon snubbed the Google buyout despite the rumored price tag that went from $2.5 to $6 billion in a few days. Instead, it's rumored that Groupon may go public as early as next year, striking out on its own for public stock purchase. Groupon's move has already been compared many times to Facebook, which is well known for refusing to sell to high bidders. So for now, this is just a little correction. Google did not in fact grab Groupon after all. Here at Pivot, we had a sort of an informal conversation over lunch on Monday about what this move means for Groupon. Was Groupon foolish not to take Google's $6 billion offer? What could Groupon have up its sleeve for the future besides a public offering, perhaps, that would beat the chance to be swallowed by Google for a big price tag? If Groupon does indeed sort of think of itself in the same vein as Facebook, which has turned down multiple offers because Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg realized how powerful the service was, if Groupon thinks of itself that way, is it sort of just kidding itself? Does Groupon have the same loyalty factor that Facebook has? That was the question over lunch on Monday, and I think most of us agreed that turning down Google may not have been Groupon's best play. But for now, we'll wait and see. Here's the news item I really want to get involved deeply with, which will start off as a news item and then sort of morph into some how-tos and a note of caution. Last week, Facebook announced another redesign to their personal Facebook profiles. Here's what an old profile looks like, my profile in fact. The status is up at the top, the tabs for wall, info, photos, video, and more are listed next, and then the wall unfolds from there. So take a look at this old profile and then say goodbye to it. Here are what the new personal profiles look like. The first thing to notice here is the new prominence of photos. My profile picture is a bit bigger, and then they've added those 5 photos across the top of my profile, which are the last 5 photos that one of my friends tagged me in. In this case, some photos from a mountain climb in September. They've also added something like a mini biography of me at the top based on information that I've put into Facebook before. Facebook's idea here is to make a person's profile something similar to how people might introduce themselves in a 5-minute social introduction. This gives the highlights of who I am and what I've done, my current work, my education, where I live, my marital status, birthday, and so on. Wall information, which was most prominent on the old profile, is much less prominent here. My status is removed from the top bar, and the wall comments are below the other information about me. Also, the tabs that were at the top of my old profile, tabs like wall and info, photos and videos, are now buttons in a left-hand navigational menu, and as far as I can tell, you can't edit them. They are only wall, info, photos, notes, and friends. I imagine Facebook will make this more customizable because right now it's very difficult for me to get, for instance, to the videos section of my profile. So look for that section to become a little more customizable. Now, one other thing this new profile page did is it sort of made it a closer match to the direction that Facebook is moving with pages for companies. Let me show you an example of that. This is the Facebook page for Highlands Presbyterian Church, where my friend David is the pastor. Like the new Facebook profile, you can see that the most prominent information about the church is listed up at the top. The address, the phone number, the website, hours, and so on. There's also a clickable map if you want to find directions. The tabs that were normally at the top of a company page, tabs like wall, info, photos, discussions, and so on, are now a navigational menu on that left-hand side. But the question is, how did David get this new page for his church? Well, it turns out that David is an iPhone user, and iPhone users now have the powerful Facebook Places application that you've heard me talk about, which lets you check in at specific locations. So David was coming to work one day, and Facebook Places recognized his location on a map and asked him if he wanted to check in at Highlands Presbyterian Church. He did check in, and then Highlands Presbyterian Church had both a Facebook Places profile and a Facebook page. Then the final step was that Facebook actually contacted David one time when he logged into his page and said, hey, it looks like you are the administrator of this page, which means you might actually be able to claim this Facebook Places profile that matches. He claimed his place, and so now his church's Facebook page merged with the Facebook Places profile to create this page that you see here. This is now both the church's page. It has all the information that you would expect from a company page, but then it also has map information and tracks people who check in using Facebook Places. So this new page is really a merge of a Facebook page for a company and a Facebook Places profile. And you can actually choose to do the merge yourself if you want to. This is what the control panel looks like for merging a Facebook page with a Facebook Place. You can click on one of your pages, click Merge, and Facebook starts processing the page place merge automatically. It's pretty easy. So what's the downside of this? Well, looking over some of the user forums, it appears that many people are unhappy with the new Facebook page combination with Facebook Places because it does take away some of the customization you're able to do. Company pages have always been customizable in a way that personal profiles never were, and the main problem with a change from a normal page to a page merged with a place is a loss of functionality. If you combine your pages, you can no longer, as you see in this help article from Facebook, determine which tab of your page is the landing tab for people who come and visit your page. In other words, you can't determine which tab they're taken to when they first come to your company page. Let me show you the difference in the administrative settings for various pages. Here's the administrative settings page for a Facebook page that has not merged with the Facebook Places profile. You access this page by clicking the Edit Page link on your company page, then selecting the Manage Permissions tab you see there on the left. Anyway, you can see where the arrow is pointing that you still have the option to determine which tab people end up on when they first visit the page. And here I've got the default landing tab set as the wall. But here's the exact same Administrative Settings Manage Permissions tab for a company that has merged its Facebook page with its Facebook Places profile. And you can see that the two screens are exactly the same, except that in the same space, the option to set a default landing tab has been taken away. So why does this matter? Well, the biggest reason this will be inconvenient for you, not able to set a default landing tab, is if you have a prominent Welcome tab on your profile or some other special tab that you take people to as soon as they show up. Thousands and thousands of companies, from large to small, have custom designed tabs that people are taken to when they first go to a Facebook page. These tabs will be no more with this new merging of Facebook pages and Facebook Places. So why would Facebook do this? Why would they take away the ability to determine which tab you send your visitors to? Well, this requires some explanation, and I'll try to be as clear as possible about my opinion, and it really is just an opinion that I'm going to express here. As you can see on this slide, the new Facebook personal profiles shown on the left bear a lot of resemblance to Facebook pages that have been merged with Facebook Places, shown on the right there. The most prominent information at the top, which are things like work and education for individuals, address and website for businesses. Then there's a prominent picture. The pictures an individual is tagged in for personal profiles, and then the map of a company location for a business. The tabs that used to be at the top now become a left-hand navigational system in both cases. This is the new design direction that Facebook has moved in. As far as I know, there is no way for your business to get that new profile look you see on the right there without merging your page with your Facebook Places profile. So what Facebook is telling you, at least at this point, is that you can do one of two things. Either you can have the new look, which keeps your business looking current and up-to-date on Facebook, in other words, have that profile on the right, or you can choose to have the functionality that allows you to determine which tab people first go to when they click on your profile, and therefore you can have an outdated look in a few months when everyone is used to the new design across Facebook. My hunch is that this move is another way Facebook is asserting some control over how people use their interface. Company pages are among the more customizable and flexible parts of Facebook, particularly since you can take customers to whichever tab you wanted to, even a tab that for many companies looks very similar to their website and has some e-commerce options. What Facebook is doing now is giving companies who did have customized landing tabs a pretty unhappy choice, which is either to keep that customization but have a look that is obsolete, or will be obsolete in a few months, or have the current look but lose the customization. So this is something to just be aware of as you consider whether to make the switch. And as a note of caution, you really cannot switch back at this point once you have merged your Facebook page with your Facebook Places profile. So really give this some careful thought. And as always, we'll keep you updated, and we're happy to talk you through any of those options. So that's the news, and now let's head into the focus, looking back at 2010. I've ordered the 2010 review sort of chronologically in terms of what happened when. So let's go ahead and take a look. As I look back to 2010 and forward to 2011, I'll sort of talk about social media in particular categories. So let's start off with social media and philanthropy. In January, the Haiti earthquake struck and the world was shocked by the devastation. Within hours, the American Red Cross began a program to let people use their mobile phones to donate $10 at a time to the Red Cross for their relief effort. They also used social media to get the word out about the donations, the progress of recovery efforts, and more. Collectively, from a social media standpoint, the tragedy in Haiti taught us the power of social networks to do good. If you've switched away from the webinar, I invite you to actually look back for a minute to watch this slide and decide for yourself whether or not social media can help make a difference. So I don't know about you, but this series of updates, status updates from the American Red Cross are pretty dramatic to me. The way that the word was put out so quickly by social media and other ways to get involved, and the response that there was within just 48 hours after the earthquake itself. Really does, I think, showed us the power of how social media can play in with philanthropy and disaster situations. So moving on to social media and responsibility, which is almost the flip side of the Haiti earthquake, was another disaster, the BP oil spill in the Gulf Coast. We saw two main things with this disaster. First, the outcry against BP on social media was enormous. Twitter feeds and Facebook pages dedicated to the BP oil spill gained thousands of followers in just a few weeks. Viral videos were made that mocked BP, and basically the whole social media sphere was obsessed for a while with calling BP to account for what happened. The second thing we saw in this was actually how poorly a company can respond to a disaster or a public relations nightmare. BP remained basically silent via social media and other communication channels for the first several weeks after the disaster, making a bad situation worse and prompting people to wonder how the oil company could be silent in the face of such a catastrophe. BP suffered hugely from the disaster, and the backlash against them was led by social media.